I remember back in the 2008 presidential campaign on the Republican side, John McCain, of course, picked Sarah Palin, who turned out to absolutely just destroy his campaign. And there was a little short video that came out at the time. It was called The Vet Who Didn't Vet, which, of course, was referring to the fact that the McCain campaign did not do a good job of looking at Sarah Palin's entire history before picking her as his running mate. Well, here we are, folks. 16 years later, and the Republican Party, Donald Trump, did the same thing that John McCain did by picking a running mate that he apparently didn't bother to vet at all. Because this past week, J.D. Vance has done more damage to Donald Trump's campaign than anyone on the left could ever dream of doing to hurting Trump's chances of becoming president. Not only did he have that horrific solo rally earlier this week that, of course, ended with him basically making a joke that nobody laughed at, but all of his horrible past statements, including going after these childless cat ladies, have come back to bite him in the ass in a really bad way that's hurting him and the Trump campaign with their weakest demographic, which is female voters. But later in the week, after the childless cat lady thing blew up, another clip of J.D. Vance from 2021 resurfaced, where he actually suggested that people with children really shouldn't have a say in how the country's run, because if you don't have kids, clearly you don't have a stake in the future of this country. Let me read you this. This is what J.D. Vance said. Again, this is from July of 2021. These children are the future of this country, and yet the parents who have them actually have no advantage in our democratic process. They have a smaller voice in some ways, in very many cases, than the people who don't have any children at all. The children who come from these families have no real representative in our democracy. Why don't we change that? Now, some people will say this is radical and this is crazy. The Democrats are talking about giving the vote to 16-year-olds, but let's do this instead. Let's give votes to all children in this country, but let's give control over those votes to the parents of those children. Why have we let the Democrat Party become controlled by people who don't have children? And why is this just a normal fact of American life that the leaders of our country should be people who don't have a personal and direct stake in it via their own offspring, via their own children and grandchildren? Guess what? If you live in this country, it doesn't matter if you're like 2 days away from dying or if you're 2 days old, you have a stake in the future of this country. So does everybody in between. So just because somebody doesn't have kids doesn't mean that they don't have a stake in this country. Like, that is a stupid thing, and it's so stupid that even conservatives came out and blasted Vance this week for it. This is what AJ Delgado, senior advisor on Trump's 2016 campaign, said. He said, "There's something so weird about smug parents who act like having kids is an accomplishment. Having kids is not an accomplishment. A flea can hatch children. Raising kids well is an accomplishment." Yeah, I mean, it's not wrong. But no, we shouldn't be giving children the right to vote, but they actually don't get to vote. Their parents tell them how they have to vote. Like, that is insane. And I'm going to keep using the word insane because everything these days is insane. But that's not even the most insane thing that happened with J.D. Vance this week that hurt the Trump campaign. The AP, Associated Press, had to do a fact check, and they determined it to be false, by the way, on whether or not J.D. Vance had sex with a couch. Rumors started swirling this week that J.D. Vance, in his book Hillbilly Elegy, claimed in the book that he had taken a rubber glove and positioned it between two couch cushions to simulate the act of sex. Now, the AP went through the book. They did not find, he did not claim that in the book, so they said it's false. He never had sex with a couch. Although, all you proved was that he didn't mention it in the book. You technically didn't prove that he never did it, okay? So let's be real clear about that fact check, because you can't prove a negative. But when you're out there having to say, like, I did not have sexual relations with that sofa, you're losing, okay? When you have to publicly deny, or even have the media publicly deny for you, that you're having relations with furniture, yeah, that's not a good look for the campaign. But Trump is stuck with J.D. Vance. We know from the reports this week he's already having buyer's remorse, and that was before all of these horrible stories. So yeah, I'm willing to bet that Donald Trump is kicking himself behind the scenes for picking this moron, but you're stuck with it. Gotta carry it to term. And I hope you learn from your mistakes. Actually, I hope you don't. I hope you never run for president again, but it is funny to see you go down in flames like this, being taken down from the inside. America's Lawyer has launched its own YouTube channel. Now, this channel, of course, is still in its early phases of development, but you can help grow it by subscribing. Just go to youtube.com/TheAmericasLawyer, and you'll get all of the great content from Mike Papantonio and myself that we produce every single week.